AIT Studios in Abuja, Nigeria. This is the O&M Sunday Show with Obiora Ilo and Mamode Akuga.
Hello, a very good afternoon to you and welcome to the O&M Sunday Show. It's a very special day for Christians and indeed for all Nigerians. For Nigeria has declared public holiday for Friday and Monday to celebrate the Easter celebrations, which of course Christians are celebrating worldwide. For Nigerians, very, very significant Easter, very, very significant period. So many good things are happening in Nigeria. So many negatives that were predicted for Nigeria, all of them just shoved aside for the international community to understand that Nigeria as a nation is resolved to moving forward and making the nation a better place for all Nigerians to move on. Of course, the events of the last few days give credence to that. My name is Mamode Akuga. Welcome. Of course, my tag team partner, Obiora Ilo, is also in the studios. Obiora.
Thank you for joining us. Wonderful period in our history. As we said last week, everyone is so proud now to be called a Nigerian. I understand that our friends, when they arrive at airports, international airports now, they don't try to dodge being asked where they come from. They publicly just let everyone know that, oh, I'm coming from Abuja or Lagos in Nigeria.
Yes.
And that's what we want. Not like those days that you're a little worried
about the green passport.
Yes, by the green passport. We're all proud.
It's getting better for us.
So we're glad you're out there. Yes. We're all basking in the euphoria of the moment. Today is Sunday, Easter. We say happy Easter to you. And for the politicians getting ready for Saturday's election,
yes,
we say more grease to your elbows because they're still under tension.
Yeah, they're still, there's still a fight.
And the papers are telling us that realignment defections as APC PDP battle from 29 states.
Yeah.
That's the nation. And across all the papers I looked at this morning, they're talking about that epic battle for Saturday. PDP says, don't worry, what happened last Saturday won't affect us. It's good. We're going to win it all.
Yes.
And the APC says, well, with our advantage, what they say in those states where that they have things like a battle is the APC is saying that, look, we are going to have a government that will have presence in the center and all your worries will be taken care.
You know, PDP says through its chairman, Adamu Muazu, that they are promising that they will rebound. But to tell you how important the governorship and state assembly elections are for APC, the president-elect is moving away from, you know, the area where, of course, the
strong area.
Yeah, so he's leaving that because they're sure somehow victory in those areas. They're going to areas they consider battleground. That is the south-south and the southeast. If you look at the election results, the president and his party APC didn't do too well in those two regions.
I hear he's relocating.
So
everything.
He's relocating to the south-south and the southeast for this week to campaign seriously for APC. So that tells you that the APC is serious about making inroads into the south-south and the southeast.
Yeah, Mamode, there's something you said when, I mean, I was glad when you mentioned Muazu and talking about rebound. And a lot of Nigerians are asking, is Muazu really a game changer or a game spoiler? Because the coming of Muazu saw the PDP turn apart. So many crises across the country, the primaries, bribe-taking, settlement and all that. Those were the things we heard.
In fact, the very, very terrible interpretation of zoning and, you know, zoning.
A lot of things went wrong. And for the first time in PDP history, under this Muazu, the PDP is losing a presidential election.
Yes, because
so can we call him a game changer in all honesty?
Yes, is a game changer. Whether it's for the better or
negative or positive,
it's up to you to interpret. But definitely, Adamu Muazu was a game changer for PDP. He turned their fortunes around. and made PDP what it is today. But a lot of the problems came from the primaries and all that. I mean, Adamu Muazu insisted that, for instance, in a state like Akwa Ibom, there'll be zoning. And then he went into Rivers State and said, no, there's no zoning. I mean, how do you have double standards?
I thought he would have, honestly, I thought he would have resigned after the election results last Saturday. And that's the honorable thing to do.
To make
to start telling us that they will rebound.
Yes.
What did you do with all the power that was given to you?
And let's even narrow and locate him to his own state.
He lost everything.
Terribly. I mean, his party, the PDP. I mean, as a party, PDP really needs to look very carefully in their choice of who becomes chairman of the party, because
you must bring something to the table.
You must bring something.
I mean, it's like the vice president over all the elections that we've had with him on the ticket. There was no value.
No electoral value.
No value.
And these are things to really consider. And I think that's where APC got it very, very, very right and very correct. I mean, the pair of Buhari and Osibanjo and the area, the regions where they were from, and the fact that, you know, Christian, Muslim, and all that. I mean, they did their calculations very well, and I think we need to give them credit for that. But, you know, Obiora, the front page of This Day today has a very striking picture which caught my attention. I mean, the headline says PDP, APC in battle for control of states and all that. But there's a picture here, and it's a picture of the Emir of Kano, Sanusi Lamido Sanusi. And guess what? He's not in his palace in Kano. He's in the private residence of the Jagaban himself, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And guess what? He's paying a congratulatory visit to Tinubu. For me, that speaks volumes. I don't know how you interpret that.
You know, Momode, we should stop pretending. Of course, what even happened as we went towards the elections will tell you that Tinubu is not just an ordinary APC member.
Yes.
You know, there was this particular documentary on Tinubu, and there were two documentaries. One was on Buhari, and one was on Tinubu. That tells you that Tinubu is a powerhouse.
Even when he was not running for office.
Even when he was not running for office.
Yes.
So if anybody is going to pay him a congratulatory message, and this is my opinion, Mamode.
Yes.
Two people I owe the miracle that happened in Nigeria. One is Ahmed Tinubu, who was able to bring this armada of an opposition for the first time in our history.
From first holding on to his state, Lagos State.
When everybody was down.
Yes, and then gradually capturing the region.
Yes.
And then eventually
aligning with
all the opposition.
And aligning with the North.
And
to
eventually
make this happen. So my heroes, whichever way you look at it, I'm talking about the part they played. Yes. My heroes are Tinubu and then Jonathan, President Jonathan. The two of them made this possible for me. You understand? I also congratulate...
And for a lot of Nigerians.
Yes, really. I congratulate Buhari, yes. We needed a man of his stature to make it happen. But those that cooked it...
Who made it possible
is Jonathan and Tinubu. So I'm not surprised that the Emir of Kano
is going all the way to Lagos
to
visit Tinubu, who, without a doubt, will be extremely powerful in this new government. Well, the Vanguard says that, you know, it's quoting Buhari now, we feared Jonathan would not accept defeat. You know, I mean, even within the APC ranks, they were very scared because, you know, the PDP threw quite a lot into this battle. I mean, so much of it, the campaigns and everything. And so Buhari himself was scared.
Yeah, Mamade, you know, I said something just before we got into the studio about the personality of Jonathan. Yes. I think Jonathan is a misunderstood man. That's one man many Nigerians have not been able to predict at any time. Either they tell you, oh, he's too weak or he's too that. But for me,
he's clueless.
Clueless and all that. But this is a man, in all the cluelessness, in all the weaknesses, he's still firm in a lot of issues, surprising Nigerians at every turn, you know. And I think that's his strength. People underrate him a lot. They misunderstand him, and in underrating him, you know, he has walked into the hearts of the world.
Yes. Well, Obiora, today is Easter, and we're going to be talking a little bit about national rebirth.
And national rebirth, and the message of Easter.
Yes, and the message, of course.
And we have Dr. Boniface Anusiem, who is actually a Reverend Father of the Catholic Church, He's also the officiating chaplain of St. Paul Military Chaplaincy in Kefi.
Okay.
He'll be joining us to talk about the message of Easter and national rebirth.
And then a little bit of politics. We will be joined later by Honorable Kayari Gujbawu, who is member House of Representatives representing Maiduguiri Federal Constituency, about the largest in the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
And of course, we will bounce back a recording we had when the elections were in top gear that sometimes our program couldn't come on. It has to talk about the World Water Day.
Yes.
We spoke with the officials of Water Aid. So we'll be bringing that interview.
The elections made it impossible for us to bring it. So
we'll bring it towards the end of the program.
All right.
So that and many more, of course.
Of course. So don't go away. Stay with us. The O&M Sunday Show continues shortly.
A hand on you or your wallet.
Excuse me, is there a Macy's in this mall, do you know?
No Macy's.
Watch closely. This woman is about to get ripped off.
Thanks, appreciate it.
In a matter of seconds, this thief effortlessly pickpockets 4 unsuspecting shoppers without ever laying a finger on their purses or wallets.
Excuse me, sorry.
What if I told you he stole one of your credit cards?
I wouldn't believe you.
Take out your MasterCard. Does that MasterCard end in the numbers 2594?
Yes, 2594.
Expires 0413?
That's right.
He just stole that credit card information from you.
How did you do that?
All it takes is this simple move.
All I have to do is get right about there, and I could pick off your card number.
Hidden inside this case is a credit card reader, just like the ones you see used in the normal course of business at drugstores, fast food chains, and taxis. But in the blink of an eye, criminals could electronically pick up your credit card information. The technology is called radio frequency identification, and you may not even know you have it. But if you see a symbol like this on the back of your credit card, you can simply wave it and presto, instant payment.
Excuse me, sir, do you have time?
Fortunately, this guy is no thief. Walt Augustinowitz runs Identity Stronghold, a company that protects consumers from ID theft.
All right, what number did you get?
Amex card ending in 41009, expiration 06-2013.
That's my card. You picked my pocket.
Yes.
Without even going into my pocket.
He says the technology is a dream come true for electronic pickpocketers because the crime is virtually untraceable. Malls like this one in New York City are a perfect target.
Excuse me, is there a Macy's in this mall, do you know?
No Macy's.
No Macy's?
Shoppers we approached had no idea they had just been ripped off.
What if I told you that he just finished stealing one of your credit cards?
I'd be surprised.
Ending in the numbers 2059, expires in 1016.
Is that your whole number?
It is.
He just stole your credit card and you had no idea.
It's frightening. Very frightening.
The major credit card companies insist their cards are secure because of multiple built-in security features, including protecting your name and address. But we wanted to check that out. Could we actually buy something using an electronically pickpocketed credit card? Looking to make an order off your website, please.
I electronically picked off my colleague's credit card, and with his permission, I went shopping.
It's a Visa 4427.
It was almost too easy. Using a fraudulent name and address, I had no problem ordering this $30 sweatshirt from LL Bean. But would the bogus transaction get flagged? Apparently not. And here it is, just a few days later, the package I ordered arrived, and it didn't cost me a dime.
I think that's crazy. That's
Well, something to think about, really.
I'm scared. I'm scared.
We are become a cashless society, so a lot of Nigerians are now using their cards, debit cards mostly, but also credit cards as well. So something to think about when you are considering security.
Mahmoud, if this can happen in the very advanced technological countries,
yes.
How about us here?
Well, you know, for us, I think what is still okay is that we're not doing a lot of it over the phone. So we're doing it a lot of, the cashless purchase while you are present physically. So I think we're still a little bit immune to that. Okay. Well, let's get on to our first interview now. And it's Easter, like we said, and so we're going to be talking national rebirth. Reverend Father Dr. Boniface Anusium is joining us shortly.
Good to have you, Father.
Thank you, Gerard.
You're welcome.
Father,
Thank
welcome.
You. Thank you.
Yes.
You know, for those of us that are Catholics, Good Friday was the day Jesus was crucified, and then Easter is rebirth. It's he resurrected. Is it possible for us to say that there's a kind of resurrection for our country? Is this season, is it coincidental that this whole thing is happening around this season?
Yeah, well, when you're talking about resurrection, first of all, you're talking about coming to life again, some kind of restoration. And basically, it's a transition from one point to the other. And that's actually what happened in polity. So we are talking about rebirth, like you said. That means something coming back again. It's a transition. You move from one point to another point. So the resurrection in the resurrection story, our Lord Jesus Christ moved from the region, from the realm of death, and then conquering death, matter, and misery, he transited to the realm of life, and then that means something great has happened, something significant has happened, and we are talking about a new door opening. So this can be applicable to various aspects of our lives, individual life, our collective life, and also very appropriately to our national life, to our polity at this point in time, where we are having some kind of political transition.
So transition. Now, a lot of people said, these elections was going to spell doom for Nigeria. International community said, look, Nigeria will break up, and a lot of people said the post-election violence was going to be terrible. They said, look, no matter who won or lost, there will be violence, and that will herald the eventual breakup of Nigeria. But somehow Nigeria seemed to just overcome all that with the twinkle of an eye. Where is divine intervention in all that?
Yeah, absolutely. I thank God you are bringing in the aspect of the divine. Sometimes we make plans, we do things without forgetting the fact that somebody's in charge of this place. Somebody made this place, and we might be making our own plans. But I remember the Bible said that in Isaiah 55 verse 8, God's thoughts is different from our thoughts. His ways are different from our ways. So we might make plans as human beings, but somebody's in charge of this platform called the earth. So it's not in vain that things that happen, did happen. So there's the hand of God in it. I know Nigerians were praying. Anyone that means well for this country knelt down to pray for this country, asking for divine intervention. Or because a lot of things have been orchestrated. Many people took flight. In fact, many people did not vote because they were not in there in the places where they're supposed to vote. Yeah, because people were taking cover. You can call it unnecessary fear or something, but then there is still some concrete things about that. So the hand of God was there, and this one thing, that God can work in an uncommon way because He's an uncommon God. He's not like us. He can use situations that may not be usual with us. For instance, even in the Bible, in Isaiah 44, God used a pagan king in order to bring the people of Israel back to their land, and He restored everything. So when we make our plans, when we do our things, we give space for God because He has the final say. So, like you said, I can feel and I can see the hand of God in what happened in the past few days in Nigeria.
Okay, Doctor, we can't talk about today and not talk about politics. And the aspect I'm looking at is the role played by the clergy, people in your business, as we were going towards this election. A lot of predictions and counter predictions, a lot of prophecies. They were being accused of collecting 7 billion and collecting all that. Those of you that are clergymen are supposed to lead us and lead us aright. Are you very comfortable? Are you happy? Are you satisfied by some of the roles your colleagues played as we were going towards this election?
Yeah, we can say that there's no straight road to that because many people had their various views. You find that priests those of us who are priests in this profession, not business, in this profession, so we are opinion models, sort of, because people look towards us, people look up to us to, explain things very well. I remember somebody asking me, Father, whom do you support in this coming election? Are you supporting Buhari? Are you supporting Goodluck Jonathan? You understand? So my response was like, let us keep praying for our country, Nigeria, asking God to help us get a credible leader, somebody who will lead us out from where we are. We need things to be better. Then if you are going to vote, you vote according to the details of your conscience. Now, you find out that many of us who are in this profession may have taken sides, based on peradventure, personal opinion or personal way of doing things or personal relationship or, give and take, one thing or the other may have happened there. So we don't say we have a standard rule or say that we did it badly or we did it wrongly. For instance, one of my colleagues, a priest, came out to say something that may have became viral or maybe it became so
controversial,
topical, yes. And when the election finished, he was vindicated. So
which of them?
Yeah, because he was
we are not at all scared to say you are talking about Father Mbaka.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So let's get that.
We're not afraid to say that. Yeah, because people perceive Father Mbaka as to have taken side with peradventure and Buhari during the visit or people who went to the adoration ground.
Yes.
Yeah. But he made some statements that people watching the video, and I remember in this show I saw it in the video, like, yeah. But then on the face value, he says something out of that. He should mind his business. He's not shouldn't be in politics. I mean, that's good. But then a priest is also a prophet. Do you understand? Much as also he's a priest, he shares the 3 offices of Christ. So then, according to how he understood the situation and what he got via revelation, then he was able to speak to the people as the mouthpiece of God, mouthpiece of God. Like this is what is going on. This is what people should do. But then, at the end of the day,
he was vindicated.
He was vindicated, more or less.
Well, all right. Maybe before we let you go, how do we move forward now? With God guiding Nigeria. I mean, in some countries, when you have a new administration, there are things like, dedication. You dedicate the administration unto God and things. And there are states worldwide that go first to God. In situations like this. We've just been brought away from the precipice, really, of Nigeria disintegrating. That's a miracle on its own. But how do we move forward? Talking about guidance from the Almighty.
Yeah, how do we move forward if we don't make reference to the author of our being, and that is God? So He knows even what will happen on the 12th after the elections. He has the pre-science of what's going to happen. So we don't. So we make reference to Him. We still, hold on to Him. If He had done this for us in the past days, I think that He still has something outstanding for us. So my advice is that Nigerians should still hold on to God. Let us not stop praying. Let us still keep our feet on the ground and keep praying. I believe this country will get better. We are going somewhere. In fact, we are going somewhere. So let us keep praying and then interceding and
I think we'll leave it at this optimistic
prayer
point.
Yes.
All right. Father, thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much. It's a busy day for you, but you had to squeeze out time to be with us.
We will let you go now to continue praying. As prayer changes things.
Yeah. Because we need the prayers.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And,
I didn't know that your friend is this far.
A lot of people don't know.
Yes. Thank you, Father.
Thank you.
When we return, we talk some politics. Don't go away. Well, if you're just joining us, this is the O&M Sunday Show. If for any reason you're joining us halfway, don't forget that all you need to do is to go to www.hbl.com, and then you can watch the full program and our other programs.
Yes.
And it's time to talk some politics.
Yes.
And we have Honorable Kayari Gujbawu. He represents Maiduguiri Federal Constituency at the Federal House of Representatives. Honorable, good to have you.
Hello, Bureau. My pleasure meeting you.
Honorable.
Hello, Mahmoud.
Wow, one of the biggest, about the biggest federal constituency.
Actually.
Yes, actually the biggest.
Yeah, about the biggest in the country, the size of almost a state in the country.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah. We have 726 units, over 700,000 registered voters. What do you say about such a place?
What's the population?
Well over 2 million. But as it is now, it's almost reduced to one city-state because the whole of Borno State, the IDPs, are living inside Maiduguiri.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the kind of constituency one is representing now.
Well, your party, the PDP, just suffered one of the greatest defeats in its history. This is a party that told us they'll be there for 60 years, and they didn't even do 15. They were knocked down.
16.
They did.
Yeah.
Okay, they just did 16.
60 and 16. Maybe the rhyming.
How do you feel, Honorable?
Well, nobody loves defeat. But you see, it's not the way you start. We are still in the race. And I'm particularly happier for my president, President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. It's not the way you start. As I was sharing during the moment as the results started, trickling in, and those 52 seconds of call that he made to General Muhammad Buhari is actually the game changer, not only about our party, but about the nation, Nigeria. I think Goodluck Jonathan would go into history as one of the greatest leaders of Nigeria. And I say this because Nigeria, as we are saying, as all of us scared of, was on the precipice. It was on the edge. The doomsday prophets have prophesied that this country was going into pieces in 2015. But mind you, that 52 or 53 seconds call ironically proved them right. Yes, I said ironically proved them right because Nigeria did break up. The Nigeria that broke up was not the entity, the geographical Nigeria that made up 36 and Abuja, no. The Nigeria that the international community lost faith in did break up that day. The Nigeria that Nigerians have lost hope in, that thought that after this election would break up, actually broke up that day. But the true Nigeria and Nigerians got a rebirth on that time. Emerged as a new nation. So for PDP, yes, it was so point because we didn't expect to lose the election. We fought hard for it. But you see, quoting from the scripture that I know best, today is Easter. Let me congratulate my Christian brothers. It is a rebirth for our party. It is a rebirth for the nation. Yes, it's a kind of a defeat, but it's a rebirth for Nigeria. And behind the scene, we're talking about the personality President Jonathan is made up. And all of us are thinking probably the entire purpose of this personality was actually made for that 31st day of March. The call he made was unprecedented, unexpected. Nobody knew the strength in him, that spirit in him could come out to make that call to General Buhari. And it broke the ice. Just in that minute, in that moment, everybody loved him. He became the beloved of the international community. Every Nigerian loved him. The opposition just the previous days and weeks, we were very invectives.
Honorable, we'll get back to you shortly. We need to take a break at this point. We'll be back after this timeout. Don't go away. Akuga, for almost 3 decades, have been involved in broadcast journalism, with the better part of that time in the gathering and production of news and news programs. I'm proud to have pioneered weekday morning news talk show on Nigerian television. First with AM TV Live on DBN television and later with Kakaki on AIT.
I am Obiora Ilo. Over 30 years ago, I started my career at Radio Nigeria. Over these long years, I've presented several programs and interviewed hundreds of guests, men and women, the big stars and the not well known, the rich and the poor, politicians, movie stars, journalists, the good, the bad, and the ugly, as they say. You just name them. I've also covered events across the world, from Europe to America, from Asia and back to Africa, bringing first-class reports.
Now, together with Obiora, I will be coming to your screens 2 nights a week.
Glad you're still with us on the O&M Sunday Show. Apologies for the little cracks on that audio, but it's all sorted out now. Honorable, what went wrong with PDP? You know, we're happy that people like you, very important members of the party, are taking this change like sportsmen. But what went wrong with the PDP? We know when we were in our intro, we were talking about the game-changing qualities of the PDP chairman. What actually happened? Was it the leadership of the PDP? Was it the members of the PDP? Or was it Nigerians? What went wrong?
Well, I think it's a lot of mixtures. And I don't think it actually is about the party PDP. Nothing did go wrong with the party PDP. Nothing did go wrong with the nation Nigeria and Nigerians. I think it is about democracy maturing. This is the first time it is under PDP that we had a smooth transition from civilian to civilian government. It is under PDP that we are now witnessing a smooth transition from a ruling party to an opposition party in a third world country, the largest democracy in Africa. Nothing has gone wrong with the party. Why did we lose the election? Yeah, there are causes for it. To a large extent, if you notice, we lost woefully in the north. The northeast in particular and the northwest in particular. And wrongly, let me put that word, in a very stressful way, wrongly, there is a misconception that defined this administration, the PDP government at the center, the security issue. And it is understandable, it is our destiny, it is a fate that although President Jonathan inherited this sad phenomenon, global phenomenon of insurgency, of terrorism, it has been difficult right from the onset, not only for Mr. President, the security chiefs, but for almost every Nigerian, including ourselves, to actually define this insurgency that came to define this administration. And to a large extent, the people in the north felt that the government has not done enough, wrongly so. I know from within and from outside that this government has done quite a lot of it. It's not about the economy. This government has managed the economy very well. It is about the security situation. And I'm sure that I'll leave that to scholars and historians, that this president and this administration will be vindicated in time, that he has done his best. Because the insurgency, as we know very well, right from the onset, it was metamorphosing. It was changing shape, even to the insurgents themselves. There was a time that my northern brothers were like kind of, forcing, pressurizing the president, you must sit with them. Why don't you treat them like the Niger Delta militants? But for us, we knew from Maiduguiri that these are not people that were willing to sit with Mr. President. And there were accusations that he was not treating them well. Mr. President was now set up a committee headed by the Minister of Special Duties, Tanimu Yakubu, and reached out to these youths. They refused to come to the table. Now, later, these same people that we are now saying that, why don't you sit with them? We are now saying, why don't you kill them enough? Yeah. Now, you see, now this is ironic. It is something that is dynamic. So, and sadly, you see, the man on the street doesn't understand the way you and I understand. And it's not every security situation and issue that you come out as a president and then talk in the public, or the security chiefs talk in the public. But then Once an opinion or a perception is formed by the man on the street, it is so difficult for him now to change the opinion and go back and say, look, but these were the same people that were telling this president to sit down with these guys, and now they are telling him to now he's not sending enough soldiers to kill them.
Go to Sambisa and wipe
wipe them and then whatever. So you can imagine that if you're on that hot seat, the pressures from different sides, you have to listen to opinion molders, to leaders, to security chiefs, and politicians like us from every side. But by and large, that's what actually defined Jonathan's administration to a large extent. And believe you me, history will vindicate him.
Okay. Adamu Muazu says the PDP will rebound. It may happen, it may not. Time will tell. But what we don't know, if it's going to rebound, how long it will take. Will it be 1 week? Will we see that PDP rebounding by Saturday, the gubernatorial and state assembly elections, or we'll wait another 4 years to see PDP rebound?
Well, I think PDP will rebound in next gubernatorial election. PDP will come back stronger after 4 years. As I said, a lot of the reason why people now kind of refuse to vote for this government, they will now realize that it was, after all, not the mistake of PDP in the next 4 years. And I believe that PDP is going to be a strong opposition in the next 4 years. It's going to remain a vibrant opposition. That is the good thing about democracy. PDP is still alive and kicking, and we are going to be a very, very strong partners to the governing party, incoming governing party, as the president-elect wanted him to become the governing party. We are going to be a strong, vibrant opposition to him, and we are going to be the watchdog.
Let me ask you, how does it feel to know that you're going to be in the opposition after 16 years? Does it feel good in your mouth?
Yeah, it does. It does. Let me. It does. It does. It does.
I hardly believe that.
Yeah,
being in the opposition.
Yeah, it is good. It is good. Let me tell you, there is no fun being in that in office. Look, uneasy lies the head that wears the crown.
You're right.
And then people like me were even given automatic ticket. I refused to run for a second time after going through what I went through representing that constituency of Maiduguiri for 4 years because of the kind of what I felt personally. Yeah, actually. So
where do you go from here? You're going back to your farm or something?
Yeah, farm business. I've been in the business of agriculture, import and export, and all what have you. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun outside government.
Okay. Honorable, thanks a million. Thanks a million for coming. I think with the new dispensation, people like you will be a little detached, will be very handy to talk about what is going on.
Yes,
and we are grateful you're here. We have something to give you, to thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mabude. Thanks a lot. Thank you, Obiora.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll take a break. When we return, we bring that interview we had with officials of Water Aid on celebrating World Water Day. Don't go away.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Hello. Welcome.
So, Dr. Ojo, why would anyone set a day apart for us to talk about water?
Thank you very much, and thank you for inviting us on the program tonight. Like you rightly said at the beginning, in about 22 years ago, in 1993, the United Nations General Assembly decided to create this opportunity for us globally to have a focus on water. And that began the World Water Day commemoration that we are talking about today. And I also listened to the introduction to your program earlier, talking about the political situation that we're in, elections coming up, and the issues that have come to the fore. With World Water Day, we now have an opportunity to raise the issue of water in the midst of the what people might think are bigger issues facing our security, economy, corruption, and so on. But what I can say is one of the things, without denigrating what's going on in the Northeast, one of the things that has killed more Nigerians this year, well, in over the past year, is lack of access to water and sanitation. And so this is a really big issue for us. And World Water Day gives us an opportunity to focus on this issue, to look back on what we've been able to achieve, and also to think about how we move this situation forward. We live in a country now where 60 million, over 60 million of us do not have access to safe water. This is a scandal. It's not something that we should be dealing with as a country at this stage in our development. We've made some progress, but the progress has been really slow, and it has not kept pace with the population growth that we've experienced. So there's a real need for us as a country to understand that lack of access to water is costing us as a nation. It's costing us economically. There was a report a couple of years ago by the World Bank and the WHO, which showed that for every year, Nigeria is losing about 455 billion naira. That's about $3 billion every year because of the cost of dealing with lack of access to sanitation. That's about $20 per person. And if we think about what that means in terms of getting a return on our investment in this sector, then we can see that we are missing a trick as a country. Every year, thousands of our children are dying because they lack access to water and sanitation. So it is important that we take the opportunity of World Water Day to focus on this issue and to really make sure that our government, national, state, local are focusing on this issue as a key determinant of our development as a country.
Tolani, people in government say Nigeria is making wonderful progress. When I think about water, I don't join them in that submission that we're making progress. As a growing child, we had access to potable water. The taps, you could just turn them on and there was water everywhere. The school I went to, the public water supply, at home, it was the same thing. But as I grew older, the taps disappeared. The public water works just, I don't know what's happening to them. They've gone dry and all that. And at the end of the day, if you are building a house for yourself, you have to provide yourself some water. In other words, people involved in the business of borehole drilling have become, very successful. But how safe is that, water from the borehole? Because you just, regardless of your location, you just build here, you drill straight, and and that's the water you're using at home for everything, even drinking.
That's the reality of our time, the reality that we live in currently in Nigeria. And the taps didn't disappear. They just don't have water.
Oh, well, they're still there, but they become dry.
They dried up. Yes. And that's what we talk about all the time. That it's not about, now we have 64% of Nigerians having access to water, or 28% having access to sanitation. It's about the people that are left behind. It's about the over 60 million Nigerians that do not have water. It's about over the 100 million Nigerians that do not have sanitation. What do we call sanitation? Basic toilets in their houses. Yeah. People that have woken up today and did not have a toilet to go to use. Those are things that you and I take for granted. But there are people, over 100 million in Nigeria, that do not have that access to sanitation. So what we're saying is, and that's why it's important that those years that you're talking about are the years that we had the public water utilities working. Yeah. Now a lot of them cannot even sustain themselves. They have to rely on government subventions to pay salaries. And then you have everybody drilling boreholes in different places, and the water quality is bad. And there's one thing we have to realize. Having access to water and sanitation is a human right, a fundamental human right. It's not in any of the legal frameworks for Nigeria currently, but it's something that Nigeria subscribes to as a nation.
Yeah.
So why don't we have it? So, you know, when we now talk about, and what the question is, it's not about people, you know, putting boreholes or because we can afford it. For us to actually have the human rights that we're talking about, the fundamental human rights, access to water and sanitation, that water must be available.
Okay.
It must be available, it must be acceptable, it must be affordable, it must be accessible, and it must be at the right quality.
In other words, it must be safe.
Yes, be safe.
Okay, Dr. Joe, how do we get people in power, people in positions of leadership, to take provision of potable water seriously? How do we engage them?
Yeah, thank you. There's a number of things that I would want to talk about very briefly on this. Last year, about 6 months ago, we started to think, how can we actually contribute to raising awareness about this lack of access to water, particularly that we're talking about World Water Day, and sanitation, and empower citizens in local communities to actually demand their right to water and sanitation, and to hold the elected officials accountable. So we started this program that we called Vote for Wash. Now, Vote for Wash has been going on. It's been really well supported by media colleagues and local communities and community-based organizations in the states that we work in, to raise awareness at that level, so that people who are putting themselves forward in this cycle of election can have those questions put to them and really try and elicit a response, a pledge, you know, a decision about what they're going to do, so that after that, we can then hold them to account. On the national scale, we've been working in Nigeria for about 20 years now. And a lot of that work has been working with the Federal Ministry of Water Resources and with others who have a stake in how we make sure that people get access to water. Really working with them to progress the legislative and the policy framework that would help us as a country to actually begin to focus on these things. But as we speak, we have a water law, a water bill that has not yet been passed into law, which was last looked at in detail in 2008. The water law that we are relying on as a country currently was from, I think, Decree 101 in 1993, which was converted to the Water Resources Act in 2004. What I'm saying is, the fundamentals that we need to put in place, like having an up-to-date legal framework that really makes clear what the responsibilities of everybody within the sector and other complementary sectors are, so that we know where accountability lies. And then that would help us to drive the investment that needs to go in. You know, people might want to come in and invest in Nigeria, but if there is no framework for them to work with, it's very difficult. You know, so before you could get the massive levels of investment that you had in the telecom sector and in the energy sector, there had to be serious regulatory and policy updates and frameworks put in place. That is where you get the kind of security that, you know, foreign investors will be looking for. And so there are a number of things that need to drive that, having the framework in place. That then helps us to drive the finance that we need. When I spoke earlier, and also following up from what Tolani has said, we say there's been some progress. And you're right to point out, most of the water that is available today is actually from people digging their boreholes. The utilities have collapsed. Many of them are not even delivering up to 20% or 30% of their installed capacity. And the installed capacity is only a fraction of the towns that they're supposed to serve. But there's a lot of investment.
Let me jump in quickly. How expensive is it to provide water? I mean, in cities and urban areas, how expensive Because when you talk to people in government, they talk about road construction, building of airports, and you hear, you know, the numbers in billions, at times 3 digits, and you know, But water, I mean, how expensive can it
Tolani,
be?
It's also about planning, because the same people that talk about, oh, we have the roads. When you construct the roads, why don't you put the pipes in?
As part of the construction.
As part of the construction.
At the same time.
It's about planning, particularly in our urban centers. And when the pipes go in, and you see, we also have to get our heads out of using, oh, I'll give you water as a campaign issue.
It's a right.
So I'll just give you. Because where are the policies that we have put into place to do that? Where are the structures? Where are the facilities themselves? All those things are not available. And then we say, oh, I'm going to give you water. On what basis? And like you said, providing water should not be free. What we say is it must be affordable to anybody, irrespective of their social status. And that is the important thing. It must be affordable. Yeah. Because the pipes that we're talking about and the taps are not free. The government themselves are going to buy them from someone.
Invest in them.
Invest in them. So we have to also play our own part as citizens.
Look, I don't think Nigerians, their problem is having access
to it.
Well, gentlemen, we'd like to.
And that's really true, because many of our poor people are actually paying more than those of us who can afford it because of the way that they have to get their water.
We'd like to thank you for coming, Dr. Joe, and then Tolani Busari.
Thank you.
Well, it's an annual event, but we don't have to wait for another 1 year for you to tell us
more about water.
And I'm glad to come here.
So please.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just for you.
Dr. Joe.
Thank
you very much. Yes.
Well, the officials of Water Aid, and of course, talking about water in Nigeria. That was to celebrate the World Water Day, happened about 2 weeks ago, and highlighting the very serious issues that we have with water in Nigeria. Like they say, water everywhere, not enough to drink. Well, Obiora, I think...
it looks like that's how we're drawing the curtain today. Yes. We are looking at Tuesday. That's when the next time we are going to be with you.
11
we are going to be digging into the Ekiti crisis, whether Fayose is going or whether the legislators are actually court jesters, like Fayose said.
As described.
Obiora Ilo from Abuja, Nigeria. Remember, you can watch us on hblnews.com.
And I am Mahmoud Akula. Thank you so much for watching, and bye for now.